Welcome back to the Tool World Plus podcast. It is chilly here today.
It is chilly today.
It's chilly, but that's California chilly.
And our studio doesn't have any heat.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
Yes, California chili. What is California chili?
It's 40 degrees.
And spicy. 40 degrees and spicy.
Spicy. Anyways, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about a side piercing kick. And something that's interesting about it really comes from the Korean terminology. And what would that be?
Yapja jorgi.
Yeopja jeogi.
Although we might not be saying it correctly.
That's right.
Because we live in California.
Right. And the interesting part is the last part.
Yeah. So I mean, what does jorgi mean, right? We have an exercise called Saju jorgi, which is four-directional punch. Saju, four-direction, jorgi, punching, right? Yet this particular kick is yeopja jorgi. So what does that actually say? Yeopja would be like side, right? Side kick. But we want to define it a little bit more. And so jorgi means punch, or really what is the definition of punching? So I think the terminology is a little bit different than what we have in English. So like for instance, if you think about the hand technique, you have punching, you have striking, you have thrusting, right? And punching is full twisted attacking tool. So if I think of punching, like just using my fist has to rotate, a full rotation of the fist when it hits its target. And so side piercing kick is really kind of the same way. It's a full twisted attacking tool, or twisting the foot sword when it hits a target.
Right.
And that's what makes it piercing.
That's interesting because when you look at bending ready stance A, where does that knee point?
Yeah, I don't think there's a definition exactly, but I always kind of look at it. Let's just say I'm in an L stance. And L stance, their feet is pointed at about 15 degrees. So when I bring my leg up, it's basically that knee's pretty much in line with that foot, that front leg. We'll use the front leg as an example.
Right.
So the knee, in my opinion, for bending ready stance A would be about 15 degrees as I bring my knee up.
Right. But the knee's pointing
The
forward,
knee is pointed
right? So
forward, exactly.
do we ever see a bending ready where the knee's pulled back?
To the side?
Because that wouldn't be a side piercing kick then, right?
No, that wouldn't be, because you still need that rotation. That's what creates that piercing type of a movement. So I think you were talking about, the other day you were talking about side pushing kick.
And that's interesting because the side pushing kick uses the same attacking tool as the side piercing kick.
The foot
It's the
sword.
foot sword, but the difference is that there's no acceleration for the kick, and then it also doesn't have any twisting movement to it,
Exactly.
which helps create the kind of power.
That's right. And the other thing too about the side pushing kick is that we're looking at really only kicking with the front leg and not the back leg. So there's no rotation of the technique.
Okay, so let's go back to the side piercing kick and our execution of it. So my knee's pointing forward. As I kick, I'm going to turn the hips at the same time, or does it point forward and then I load it back up and go?
Well, I think it has to happen all at one time. And maybe for instructional purpose, we need to break things down, because one thing for sure is that we need to hit with the foot sword. The problem is how you chamber that leg back. If you don't chamber it properly back, then obviously the ball of the foot's going to hit the target first. So we do need to make sure that the chambering of the knee, because it still has to go backwards, the knee has to kind of go backward because it's forward. You don't just bring it up and then throw the kick out. That's more like, in a way, that's kind of like a side turning kick in a way, because you're hitting with the ball of the foot. So you do need to break things down. I think it all happens at one time. The standing foot has to pivot, the hip has to rotate in the correct direction, the knee has to be pulled back so that the foot is chambered in the proper position, and then the foot, you can think of it, the foot has to be kind of upward, and then it has to rotate downward so that the heel is lower than the toe.
Right. Okay.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. There's a lot going on for a kick that's introduced pretty early on.
Is that true?
Wanyo comes before a turning kick.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I was kind of wondering, I think all instructors introduced kicks differently. I mean, we start throwing the flying double side piercing kick at white belt, but
What?
no, not exactly, but you know what I mean.
Right.
So when we think about the side piercing kick, there is a lot more to it. Bending ready stance A is an important piece of it because the leg actually, that really is not a stance per se. It's really the intermediate position for the side piercing kick or the side kicks in general. I mean, we do it as an exercise where we, like in Wanyo, where you bring the leg up and you kind of hold it. But really, it's in the intermediate position for these kicks. And so the knee's got to point forward. And through this whole process, you've got this rotation, and then you execute the kick itself.
So my question is, when I look at bending ready stance A, and let's say I want to differentiate between side piercing kick or like side thrusting kick, does that change my foot position in the ready stance?
You're talking about in the bending ready stance A position?
Right. So when I'm in
Right.
bending ready stance A, let's say I'm doing side piercing kick, that foot sword is bladed already.
Right.
Does that apply to side thrusting kick as well, where I'm going to point the foot with the ball of the foot down?
My answer would be yes. In real life, I think the whole process happens continuously, right? So in other words, as my foot comes up, my foot's already starting to blade for the side piercing kick.
Right.
And as it's going through the bending ready stance A and then executed, and then you're hitting with the foot sword. And that would also be true with the side thrusting kick, where I point my foot forward and it's coming up through the bending ready stance A and then it's executed. So if I was to stop it at the bending ready stance A, I would say that the foot position is basically in the position of the kick itself.
Right. You know, the funny thing is that we start side thrusting kick and introduce it at a green stripe level, and most kids cannot put their foot in that position. It's kind of funny.
You mean point the foot?
They can't point the foot. Like they keep throwing it out, and they always just want to pull the foot back like a side piercing kick.
Yeah, but you also have that white belts can't do front snap kick. Where
Right.
the foot
Yeah,
points
that's
forward.
true. That's
It's
true.
It's all just flat.
Right. Yeah,
The whole bottom of the foot sole.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny because when we see it, that students will kick the foot out and then they'll push the foot forward.
Oh, I see.
They can do the position, but they can't do the kick with that foot position. They understand what it is.
Oh, so they bring the leg up, they kick, and then they point the foot.
Yeah, so it's like a side piercing kick, and then they like hold it and then they push the foot
That's
forward.
good observation.
Yeah.
Fix that, will you?
Try it. Doing it all the time. I see that all the time. All right, any other thoughts on Hyopcha Jerugi?
It's my favorite kick.
That's right. Favorite kick. Favorite kick. Anyways, let us know your thoughts on the kick. Don't forget to check out our Tool World Plus program. This week we had just recently covered the angle punch to C. And as always, don't forget to be safe.
Keep training.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Take one.